Call to order the Maple Run Unified School District Board of Directors meeting, July 6, 2022 at 6 p.m. And we have remote people as well as in person here. And just want a quick agenda review. We're moving over to the connection over where they play hockey to have front for dinner, and then we'll be back in 30 minutes. Okay?
Let's just, seeing who's coming on board.
Yep.
I just wanted, I hope people online heard that.
Did everybody online hear that? Nilda, did you hear that? She probably already left.
She might be in 30 minutes.
Okay, we'll be
I
back.
don't think I did. I heard that you were saying something, but I didn't hear what it was.
No. Okay. Well, you can hear her.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna, for agenda review, we're just gonna, a little bit of a change. We're moving the meeting over for the connection to meet with the Collins Pearly Board for the front and having a cookout a little bit for 30 minutes. Oh, do you hear that? Nilda?
Something about turning the meeting over to the Collins Pearly Board, is that correct?
No, but are you hearing us fine, Nilda?
Apparently not.
We are moving the meeting over to the connection to meet with the Collins Pearly Board and having a cookout, and we're going to pause for 30 minutes and come back. Can you hear us okay? Okay. All right, welcome back. Thanks everybody, and nice meal. All right, we'll just continue with the meeting tonight. Just to touch upon agenda review, again, was there any changes, additions you happened? Okay, well, on to Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we're on the visitor section. Are there any visitors in the room who'd like to speak?
I've just posted, but nobody yet.
Okay, all right. We'll give everybody just a minute. So nobody online, you said?
Not yet.
Okay. Nobody online?
Only someone wants to speak, but I look at all the names up there that are in, and
Yeah, I don't
those
see
are,
anybody. Just one.
assuming Kate is Katie Campbell, but I'm not sure. The rest of them we know,
Okay.
our staff, or Nilda as board member.
All right. All right, we'll move on if there's no visitors.
Mark, is Tim?
I'm assuming he's coming back. Can we go find out?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay. All right, we'll do consent agenda. I'll do both approval of minutes and media packet. Does anybody want to take or make any changes to the June 13th or June 15th meeting? Pull anything to change, updates, questions? Okay, and then media packet, that's in there, attachment 5B. We'll just accept those. Reports to the board, and we're waiting for Tim.
I hear his voice.
I know.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
we have someone that would like to speak.
Oh, is that, I can't see.
Yeah.
So it looks like Kate Barsalis would like to.
Like to speak? Okay, all right. We're gonna back up a little bit, Tim, for the agenda here. So we have a visitor that'd like to speak. Just gonna read this before anybody speaks. The public comment visitor section of the meeting is an opportunity for community members to address issues of concern about policy, budget, or administrative matters, or to share ideas about how we can work together to improve our schools. We value input and respect divergent views. We ask you to limit your remarks to time constraints prescribed by the chair and refrain from airing grievances with individual members of the school community, including respecting the privacy of the students and parents. Those attending remotely may type their full name in the comments section if they wish to speak. During the meeting, comments may be disabled. Follow-up to the public questions may be done by the superintendent. Thank you. And also, please keep your time limit to 2 minutes when you speak.
And I'm actually just wondering, Kate, I think might just have been correcting her name because she is a reporter from the St. Albans.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, I read it in.
Sorry.
No, you're okay.
Yeah,
All right.
But I'm not sure if she was asking to speak.
Was she asking? I couldn't.
you could ask her a direct question.
Katie, were you ready? Did you want to speak or say something? If you saying something, you're on mute.
Oh, no. I'm just here to observe. Thanks.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Get back to the agenda. So Tim, thanks for joining us. We're on the connection with, have a review of the facility, and thank you very much for having the board meeting here tonight and the great meal. I appreciate it.
I just make sure the food is getting packed up okay.
Oh, as long as we get some to take home.
Sure, I'll make little boxes for you.
You're welcome to go ahead and with your, you doing the presentation now?
Well, there's anything, and we can set some time for the board, the Collins Burley board. Tim said you would introduce folks.
Well, I just wanted to introduce the board.
Oh, sure, okay.
Chris Abram, a BFA alumnus, local business guy. Been on the board how many years?
Since 2019.
And Benny Roberts, same thing, BFA alumnus. Jess Remillard, who is a regular, and they're all regular users of the complex. And Jess is a regular user, and her family, her kids use it. Dave DeBellis, he is our keeper of trust. And Dave too has kids who've gone through the academy. So we had a huge change over the board about 3 years ago. More than half the board was replaced. And we've got a great crew here, and just thought it's time that we all get together and meet people.
Are there other board members too that are here?
We do Alan Teague, he had a family emergency tonight, he did not make it. Al Corey, who's on both
Yep.
boards. That's everybody, right? Yeah.
I think
And Mark Diesel, he actually runs the facility, assistant director. I do nothing here, Mark does it all.
Very good. Well, thank you for introducing yourselves. I think it'd be nice if we actually introduce ourselves too,
Yeah.
because I don't know if everybody knows us either. Susan, do you want to?
I'm Susan Kazman. I work at the hospital.
A local person.
I'm a local person. Also an academy graduate.
Peter Delorier, also local forever.
Nina Hunsaker, transplant from Central Vermont, so not from around here, but nice to meet you.
Bill Kimball, superintendent.
Katie Messier, also a lifer. My name's Joanna Jerose. I live in Fairfield, and I've lived here for 23 years.
Thank you.
And you play hockey here, right?
Did you play hockey here?
All right, anything else?
No, just glad to have you.
Yeah, thanks for coming tonight.
Can we just put a quick plug in for the Clean Spoon who fed us tonight, too?
Oh, that's what
Oh,
is
yeah.
it, Clean Spoon? Okay,
Yes.
I didn't realize that, so thank
I don't
you.
think you do that.
Hey, listen, it was that good.
Okay, so you did, good luck.
There we go. Plug it in.
I would like to add too that I get the joy of working with Collins Burley board monthly, and I want to say that they really have the good graces of this place in their heart and are really trying to do good things. And you've seen some of the posters of they came to the board. Chris, when was that? Was that October, November last year?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
To talk about turf field, and they're looking at renovations. They're doing a study right now if there can be enough revenue to have a second hockey rink here. And a lot of the folks you see right over there are doing that hard work on their own voluntary time to figure that out. So,
And can I add one more thing?
Sure.
Mike Bluen, who was a board member from the beginning, who hired me, when he got done, he said, Timmy, go find young people who want to give to the community. And this is what we have. I'm very happy with this board. It's a great board. Easy to work with.
When do you have meetings monthly? Can anybody go, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, when?
We meet every third Tuesday at 7 a.m. here,
Okay,
or on Zoom.
okay. It's good to know. Thank you.
Nilda's just introducing herself as well.
oh yeah.
Oh, sorry, Nilda, I didn't know you were back. Everybody know Nilda. Nilda, if you want to go off mute, go ahead. Or not.
I put it in the chat. I'm Duncan Allen French, and I've lived in St. Albans my whole life.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
You've been on the board for a quarter of your life, haven't you?
I think 3/4.
No, I know how old you are.
Thank you, Nilda. Sorry.
Like I said, 3/4.
Okay. Just moving on, student board representative reports. Do we have?
No, Leah and the other students are
On
on summer
vacation.
break, so, and they had told me they wouldn't be here
Okay.
today. But what we didn't do last board, we made sure this template always has them up
Okay.
front.
Yep.
Unless we have a presentation from outside group.
Oh, good, good. I'm glad I'm on someone first. They deserve it. All right, moving on. Preliminary end of year FY22 financials. Martha.
Yeah, that's me. Do I need to get up there, or am I
Um,
speaking loud enough?
You might want to just.
So you might want to move your chair up so the
Yeah.
camera can get you at least. There.
Or if you want.
It's the Zoom people, huh? Okay. Well, everybody saw the attachment, on the, to the agenda. Basically, just wanting to let you all know that this is a very preliminary report. We are still working on getting our final year-end invoices into the system and paid, as well as booking accounts receivables for grants that we are expending at this, finishing up our accounting at this time of the year. Right now, it looks like we're going to end with a positive fund balance. It's not going to be huge like it has been in the last couple of years. It's going to be a minimal. I say minimal, somewhere between 1 to 400,000 or 500,000, which is minimal when you're talking about a $64 million budget. So that's about where we're thinking we're going to land at this point in time. And if you have any questions, I'm available. Okay?
Thank you. All right.
Could I just make a comment that possibly, I know the board members that are sitting there, unless they have other business, I'm not sure that they want to sit through our meeting any more than we might want to go and sit through theirs. So it would seem like,
Oh, they're free to go.
They're welcome to
yeah, I mean, we won't think you're rude if you get to walk out. In fact, I think you're sensible.
I don't mind staying.
Yeah, thank
Take it all
you.
in.
Thank you. I wasn't timing down, but sure. Okay. Let's see. Other reports to the board, updated SEL data.
That's me. As you all know, Alexis Hoyt has been out on leave and has just gotten back, but this is work that we collected this data while she was out, so I'm kind of subbing in for this. And I'm going to make this brief. I have 3 or 4 slides to go over, but I sent you the data in your packet. This was, if you remember back in April, I believe we gave you the first report from the fall data. This is looking at the spring data and doing comparison analysis. And I'm just going to go over, I really have 3 slides, which are the positives, areas we need to learn more about, and just looking at some of the data. So we looked at all this, some of these are the same positives you saw before, but we see students trust adults. We see a lot of comments about that. When asked about how can your teachers support you more, there's a lot of I don't know, or the teachers are great. I mean, just in the pre-response question. So it's really good to see that. We have about 90% of the students in 3 to 5 took the survey, so we feel like it's really accurate. The sense of belonging and the supportive relationships are really high, are still real high for the grades 3 through 5. The school safety and climate have improved for our students of the BIPOC community, which is was great to see that we've done that work. We've been able to do that work and it's happened. And that across all grades, our Black African American students have a high sense of belonging. We've actually seen that increase across all grades. And then we see that with kids, when we disaggregate with IEPs and 504s, are about the same as students without, so there's not any significant difference there. And grades 6 through 12, we have a good sense of belonging. It's actually increased a little, not much to really say it's increased, not outside the error range for it. If we go to the next slide, some of the issues we need to learn more about is we had a drop in school climate from the fall at both grade levels. Not sure why that is. I don't know, for those who've been in teaching, or been in education, it seems as the year goes on, the climate, before pandemic, after pandemic, the climate goes down.
What is that climate? Sorry.
Just a sense of how, I'd have to go, I don't remember both questions off the top of my head, but just the happiness, sense of belonging within the school.
It's about energy, right?
Yeah.
How positive or negative the energy in your school. I wouldn't say sense of belonging just because they already do ask that question. It's just more about the atmosphere in the classroom as kids go through. Yeah, thank you.
We had a drop in school safety. That was probably our biggest at grades 6 through 12. And then, we said this last time, we're still seeing a sense of belonging really drops as we get to older students. That's been, for years I've seen student climate surveys. That's been something that's been there as well.
I have a question.
Yeah.
When you said drop in school safety, did you mean that students feel less safe in school?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. According to the survey.
Right.
Yep. The students aren't feeling as connected with the adults. That's going. We're seeing that happen. And in grades 6 through 12, male respondents were more favorable to climate, safety, sense of belonging than the females were. You can see, then I started to look at I did run all this through statistical analysis to see if there was a significant change, and we had a significant drop in grades 3 through 5 for climate. The 5th grade in particular had a significant drop across all schools. It's not one I'm doing this on Maple Run. And the comments that kids made, there's some individual ones that really show some lack of trust of adults. Or the biggest one was trusting other students, and that students aren't feeling like the other students are being disciplined and not being held accountable. So that, we've got to find a way to drill into that. So.
Yes. I don't know if it's the same, but I can say that from another SU's perspective, that my experience of school climate decreasing was because of a lot of staff absenteeism. And so the behavior, right, went down in the classrooms when there was a sub present. Yeah. And so that there was a lot of frustration with students, other students' behaviors because they weren't acting properly when there was a sub present.
So after scanning through many other students, I would say it is about other students' behavior.
Yes.
And wanting other students to be held accountable.
Yes, I would entirely agree.
The last one I'll give you, which is just more some analysis up here, is I just went through and did a significant difference. It doesn't mean we don't say that we don't want to investigate a piece of data, but it's worth looking to see if there's a statistical significance in the data change. So you'll see in some places you might see a high change, but there's no significance because the population is so small. And sometimes you'll see a small change, like school safety 3 through 5, you see there's only 2% change, but it was significant because there was such a high degree of student response and the number of kids that took it. So, and then there's some things that I don't think I put up here that are no's that, we're like 6, 7, 8%, but the subgroup of the kids were so small, it's hard to say whether it's significant or not.
Any questions, comments? Okay, thank you. So taking this information, what's the plan?
So our plan is next year we're actually going to do a different survey because this survey was put together pretty quickly. We're going to use a national survey on school climate that's nationally normed as well, so we can see how we're doing with other schools. At the same time, there's work that I know that's happening with student leadership in all the schools. So I think some of that qualitative work with student leadership and with different people helping support that, and that's happening. I think of just the work, the group of kids that are getting competition, hearing their comments from them the day I spent in May with them. That right there was a more qualitative data than what I got out of the survey, just because of spending the day and listening.
right, old business, COVID update. Bill?
Our biggest update is that we have to have a reentry plan that we've had to have every year for COVID that we're updating, which is basically going to be how we ended the year, which is schools open. If you have symptoms and are sick, please stay home, get yourself tested. Not sure that we're going to have access to tests like we did last year because that ended here in June. So we're keeping our tests right now, even though they are going out of date, but we've seen that happen before, and then the companies say, no, keep using them. But that's about the COVID update at this point since the last time we met.
Any questions? Okay. Item B, implicit bias and anti-racism training.
So as I said at the last meeting, we're working with a creative discourse group to talk with the community about what are our aims and goals with our inclusion, equity, and work. And Ryer's been helpful with talking about the city, getting some time with the city DEI committee for our consultants to help have a conversation with them. But you don't need to tell me now, or you can, but I'm looking for other outside groups or individuals for our consultants to talk to. Because if you remember, the way they were going to do is they're going to talk with small groups about what are your hopes and dreams for diversity, inclusion, and equity, and then try to bring representative group from those different people they talk to design how we want to have that conversation as a community. So I know that talking with Alexis, we're going to try to bring in our community partners, so NCSS, SOAR, the other agencies and community partners that way. But if you have any thoughts, we're really trying to put together those small, really kind of individual, not individual person, but like no more than 10, 12 people to talk about what their hopes and dreams are so they can start to work on it.
Joanne?
I'd love to see Outright with Vermont be a part of that conversation.
Okay.
Anybody else? Thanks, Bill. Setting goals?
So Grant emailed Nilda and I, he couldn't be here tonight, but basically there's a meeting on the 13th of July and August 10th. Thank you, Susan. You were helping me remind you. I got the first date in my head, the second one, I should have wrote it down. And they're starting to do the work. I'd ask Joanna or Susan, if you're on that group, if you have anything to add or where we're at.
I think so.
No, I mean, we're going to meet again on the 13th.
Yes.
Wednesday, 13th.
In person?
In person, we've been, and they've had Northwest Access there just to fill in.
Yep, good, okay. Look forward to doing that. Okay, thank you. Facilities update. Bill?
This is me again.
Yep.
Sorry, I said
It's a
to
Bill
Martha.
show.
Yeah, well, I don't like it being the Bill show, but it is. And that's because, as you'll hear in my superintendent report, most of our colleagues are on vacation, as they should be. The facilities update, last time I updated you on the facilities, and I asked you to think about what I presented in the facilities and moving forward, and so I'm just giving a chance for discussion for the board. When we come back in August, I'm going to need this board to take action on the ESSER plan for facilities, which remember is a little over $7 million worth of work, because we are at the time, if we don't take action by the end of August, we're going to be in the point where we start pushing up against the ESSER money timeline, and we have to have all the facility improvements done, completed, and invoiced, and that end of that is September 30th, 2024. And for construction season, we're really tight. And Laskangas, as you know, is our architect who we work with. We've set a timeline of going out to bid in November, and there'll be different parts for the board to vote on pre-qualification standards and then pre-qualify the construction companies that can bid.
So in August, what you're looking for us to?
I'm going to look for you to approve the plan that we're going for, what we said for the amount.
This one here?
Yeah, the one that was in that handout that said, here's the amount of money, which is about I'm going to move forward so I can speak exactly to it. It's 7.4 million. It has work for, some of it that's a combination of local and ESSER funds, where, in this building and in the central office, it's all capital money. It's not coming from ESSER, but the 4 school campuses, and there was an outline of that, and that's taking, and we showed what each facility was getting, and that over the years, I want to make sure I wasn't on the right page, so I just want to make sure I'm there. That we have to spend all the ESSER money, so we'll get that work done probably first. It doesn't mean we can't do the other at the same time, and at some points, I always use SATEC as an example because we're going to be pulling down ceilings and B-Wing to replace the HVAC. We might as well do the ceiling itself and whatever else is up there. Since we opened it up, it's cheaper to do it all at once, and that's why we're doing the local ones.
So it'd be the total.
So it'd be the total project, including all 6 locations. Hope I'm counting right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes, 4 school campuses, Collins, Pearlie, and Central Office. And that we would, as I said, West Genghis and Peterson Consulting have been helping us put this all together.
So this would be the
August, the second meeting. It's your first meeting, but it's the 3rd Wednesday.
Okay.
Is the next time we get together.
Does the board have any comments, questions since the last time it was presented? I mean, really take a look at it, and if you have any questions, we come back in August to give Bill what he needs.
Maybe just a reminder for people to make sure that they look through it.
Yep, we
So
can do that.
they come prepared with questions or comments.
We can do that.
Okay, thanks for the work on this one.
All right, old business E, legal action. We will need an executive session for a legal action update, so we'll have that at the end of the meeting. New business, non-union guidelines, looking for an action. So administration seeks a motion to approve the FY23 non-union guidelines. So we need a motion and a second.
Make that motion.
Thanks, Susan. Thanks, Katie. Okay, is there any discussion?
Martha's here for you.
Oh, Martha.
So
All right.
I can kind of give you just a real quick general
Okay.
overview of what the changes were in these guidelines. There was only one actual change, and it's under the holidays. We just aligned the holidays in the non-union group with the other groups in the school buildings. It was putting in Juneteenth as a paid legal holiday, and it replaced, so it's not an added, it replaced Veterans Day, because Veterans Day we have school, and our schools do Veterans Day, I don't know if you want to call it a celebration, but the things in the park. And so we just changed a day, switched a day. And then the only other added item to the guidelines is we added the Appendix A, which is the health insurance that is negotiated at the state level. We just included all the information in the guidelines like we have in the other negotiated agreements, because it does encompass this group of staff as well. So those are the only 2 changes in the whole guidelines.
Thank you.
Any questions, comments? All right, all in favor in, administration seeks a motion to approve the FY23 non-union guidelines. Going to do a roll call. Nilda?
Yes.
Joanna?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Susan?
Yes.
Nina, yes, okay.
Yes.
5. So 5, none, 5 to none. Nobody else is here tonight. Okay. And it passes. Thank you. 4. Oh, too high. 5, yep. Wait, okay. All right, item B, under new business, award bid for literacy program. Attachment 8B, and the action is administration seeks a motion to award the bid for the literacy program to Amplify in the amount of $346,640.38. Need a motion? Okay. Need a second? Joanna, thank you. Any discussion?
John's your guy.
John, okay.
So this is a really interesting time to be looking at curricular programs, or programs to support our curriculum across the district. There's the landscape in the state and nationally is changing kind of dramatically on what we can use federal funds to pay for, and that is how we pay for the majority of these programs to support our students. And under this new ranking and weighting system, unfortunately, all of our existing programs don't pass the requirements. So when we think about all of the new work that's been done recently on the science of reading and how to work particularly with students in that K-2 age range, it's not that the programs we're using aren't good, it's just that there are programs that are more aligned with the new best practices and research that have come out in the past decade. And so we are, because of the curriculum work I presented to you last year, at a natural point to begin a program review across multiple different content areas, not just literacy, but because of this change, we started with literacy. So we pulled together members of that same curriculum working group for literacy that represents all of our schools. We're starting with K-8 because that's the grade level the grade levels that were most impacted by this change. Although I will say the team was really fortunate to have members of the English department at BFA support the effort as well, so they were part of that working group. We collected data from all of the literacy teachers and interventionists across the district in terms of what they liked about our current programs and what they were looking for from any potential change. We reviewed all of the programs that meet the new requirements, selected a kind of short list to go a little deeper on, ended up with 4 semi-finalists for us to look at more deeply. We knocked one of those out before we went back to the district, and we did a little bit of a road show and tell across all of the schools this spring, meeting with teachers, providing access to the online materials and the print materials so that teachers could even have the chance to try some of it out with their students if they wanted to. We took feedback in person and again through survey, and ultimately that team went through all that data and then came up with a recommendation they presented to the leadership team. Thankfully, I will say the decision is very easy. More than 85% of the respondents identified the Amplify program as their first choice across all grade levels. The 15% of people selected Open Up as their first choice, but Amplify as their second. And kind of amazingly, nobody selected Wit and Wisdom, which was the third choice, as their first or their second choice. So in looking at what that implementation would look like, you can see the quotes from all of the different programs. Amplify actually, I mean, it's a win-win because it is the first choice by far for the vast majority of people in the district, but it is also the cheapest option. And so the prices that you see there, $347,000 for Amplify, approximately $785,000 for Open Up, and $856,000 for Wit and Wisdom are all for an 8-year implementation with support and professional learning, in addition to print and digital access.
Why such a,
No, go ahead, Joanna.
why such a discrepancy?
I mean,
it's enormous.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference. I'll take a little bit of credit. They know that we're reviewing math next year, and they have a math program that also meets the new requirements for math, and they're very interested in partnering with districts to meet all of their curriculum needs. And so it is also a program the math curriculum team had identified as they wanted to look at it anyways. So by making an agreement that we would consider them for math, we got a little bit more of we got a substantial discount on the literacy implementation.
How was it tested, I guess, from the teachers? Like, how did they test this out?
So I'll be honest with you, springtime is crazy out there in the buildings, and we did have a struggle for a lot of the spring to keep buildings open with different levels of staffing and absenteeism in the district. So there was no full-scale pilot of any of the systems.
Mm-hmm.
Different people had opportunity to go deeper, and I think just like anything, some people took a quicker look than others, but everybody had access to 100% of the material, both in print and online. I was able to visit some of the classrooms where teachers were trying some of the materials with students. And actually, I think one of the biggest strengths for the Amplify program from the people who worked with the materials and with kids was that the texts were really high interest for students, and that the tasks and materials to support the learning tasks were not just high-level thinking for the kids and rigorous, but that they were really engaging. And so it made it easier for the teachers to plan around.
Now, what's the support like for Amplify? You said, do you get support? What does that look like?
So we have a pretty aggressive rollout plan for 2 years with a big launch, following it, different types of support during in-service. So 2 days of learning for teachers that want to launch the program for the start of the year. We're giving teachers some choice in the first year about when they roll it out in their classrooms. And that's really driven a lot by the looping nature of many of our elementary schools. So a lot of kids are in grade level bands with the same teaching teams for 2 or 3 years. And then there will be early release day professional development and support and coaching support. And then there'll also be the November and March in-service days with support as well. Amplify also has a really rich online portal that they've developed, and they have a podcast that comes out weekly called The Science of Reading that actually many of our teachers are already listening to. And then a similar level of support for next year. And then at that point, we switch from more rollout model to a sustain and develop model, where we're offering what they call micro sessions versus big rollout sessions. So you really focus on the new teachers coming in and getting them up to speed on the program, and then providing teachers more of a menu of learning in terms of what they want to do to stay sharp and continue to develop.
So this is more of a long-term, I guess, solution, I guess, or that's what I'm looking for. So that after so many years, is it going to be like looked at again, and something at this they don't provide what we need, we'll just go through the whole thing again.
Yeah, so that it's something that Bill and I talked about with the leadership team, is the need to develop a review cycle for all of our content areas. So this will be the first go with literacy. So we did the first program selection across the whole district, and then we'll be developing follow-up reviews as well.
Thank you. Go ahead, Jim.
Can you talk about how or if any DEI concerns or focus was taken into consideration with the new curriculum?
Yeah, so actually both Amplify and Open Up got high marks from the teachers and the students who use them for the way that it incorporates all of the different goals that we have right now. So social emotional learning, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, valuing different perspectives, universal design for learning, and also tools for teachers to differentiate in the classroom, which was a number one request for teachers, was a program that would make it easier to meet varying levels of needs as they present themselves in the classroom. So that was very evident throughout the entire program. Even just visually looking through the materials, it's obvious that they designed it with that in mind.
Excellent. And you said you're going to start with K-1 too?
So we're rolling out K-8.
You're going to roll out K-8?
Yep. The major changes in terms of the methodology that the programs are evaluated on was in K-2. But it affects K-8 more than it does high school, so that's why we're starting there.
And people are on board with that?
Yeah, actually we got a lot of very positive feedback for both the way the program was selected, the amount of opportunity people had to interact with it and give feedback, but also a high level of excitement about doing it. And to be realistic, also a high level of anxiety about having to make a major change. But I think people are encouraged by the level of support and learning that we've built into the rollout. So.
And it's been needed for a long time. So people are, I would imagine some people are really ready.
There's a lot of excitement about it. I am actually very encouraged by that.
That's great. Thank you.
As a matter of fact, in every building when we did our little show and tell tour, there were teachers who were like, I want access right now to everything so I can plan this summer.
That's good. That's great.
Physically, is this a lot of hard copy stuff? I just noticed there's $19,000 in shipping.
Yeah, so both Amplify and Open Up, which were the two that received the most positive feedback, use the same methodology. So they send everything in print and everything is available online. Teachers that go through the training learn how to use both tools, and then they trust teachers to make the right choices. Many of the publishers that are out there now with programs like this make you order consumable sets every year, regardless of whether you use them or not.
Right.
Amplify does not do that, which was another thing that, both from a fiscal sustainability aspect, but also an environmental aspect, was important to the team.
Right. Thank you.
Good question. Anybody else? Nice job, thank you. All right, we're ready to vote on the motion. Do a roll call. Nelda? Nelda?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, sorry, muted.
Joanna?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes?
Susan?
Yes.
Nina, yes, so it's, motion carries 5-0. Thank you. All right, new business superintendent evaluation. Nelda? Did you want to speak to that?
Sure. So, can you all hear me well?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't want to be the chair that doesn't do a superintendent evaluation. So to that end, I called the Vermont School Board Association, spoke with Carrie Lim, the director of operations, and asked her what they have to offer. They offer a process where they will, sort of quiz the board, find out what they're looking for, and then they send out a survey to the board and administrators. It comes directly from the VSBA, so it's totally anonymous. But the bottom line is, it's a survey monkey. And when it comes back, it goes back to Carrie Lam, and she does the survey monkey analysis. And I've worked with survey monkey before, and it's not that high tech, right? But the thing that I'm concerned about is, because we haven't set goals for Bill, in order to really do a proper evaluation, we should have goals. So what I'm thinking is that we do something sort of cursory this year, give him feedback in some format, and then maybe next year use the VSBA process, which is about, she said it was about $1,000. It's not necessarily the money, it's sort of like, I'm looking more at the value for the money kind of piece of it, because I think $1,000 is a lot for somebody to analyze Survey Monkey personally. So I haven't reached Sue Keglowski, who is the executive director, to see if she had any tools that she would be willing to share with us, that sort of a basic tool that we can send out to everyone, but a tool that's been sort of vetted through the VSBA, so it's not like, because we could all write a tool, right, and come up with something, but I don't want to go that route. I want something that's been tried and true, at least in some basic format. I didn't reach her yet. So basically, what I'm looking for is a tool for board administrators to use to give feedback to our superintendent in an organized manner, and also something pretty basic for this year, and then try to develop something for the next year that we start on a little earlier in the process, so we're not at the end of the year trying to figure out how to do it. And you all know that it's the best kind of process is if you get feedback along the way. And we did have a couple opportunities to give Bill some feedback along the way, but it's very informal. And we really should do that in a more formalized process. So I'm proposing that we come up with something for now. And I talked to Bill about this briefly, and he's going to look through some of the tools that he has just to see if there's something that we can use just to get through this year and formalize the process. But then once we have our goals in place, I think we can either use the VSBA tools or talk to the Vermont Superintendent Association and see if they had something. I did a search online, and there's your basic, everyone's seen them kind of survey thing. But I guess I'm wondering how much time we need to put into it this year, since we don't have sort of steps in place and metrics to measure him against, and that we should put our energy more in the process for next year. So I wanted to report on that, and also ask you all for any feedback that you have related to this, and you can either give that to me tonight, or you can email me with any thoughts that you have along the way. I know our previous superintendent went quite a long time without an evaluation, if he ever got one. And, you know, we always say in this business, you know, when things are going okay, it's okay, but you know, when things are not going okay and you're looking for that evaluation, you know, it gets like, damn it, when you don't have it. So I really just want to make sure we get this done. So that's my 2 cents.
Nelda, what are you looking for this year for a superintendent evaluation? This before we get back to school, or what are you looking to?
That would be my goal. I think that's maybe a little ambitious, but I would like to get it done this summer before we go back to school. And I think, you know, like I said, I'm not shooting the moon for this year, so I think we could get something that could meet our needs for the first year of the superintendency, and then really kind of, you know, do more of a elaborate one in the future that we sort of roll out at the beginning of the year and get sort of input a couple times along the way.
Okay. Joanne?
I feel like we have had asks of Bill this year, and I think that we could loosely at least use those things that we have asked, whether it be specific reports that we've asked for, COVID updates, putting together information in terms of, you know, his reports to us at the meetings. Sorry, I'm like drawing a blank. I mean, even in terms of curriculum and proficiency-based grading, I mean, I feel like we have done a lot of asks, so I think that we could put together something that would provide at least anecdotal, you know, feedback. I don't know that it has to, you know, hold up to anything really huge for right now, but feedback is a great thing to have, not just in a negative sense. Feedback is a great tool. So I think we owe it to him, period, whether things are going, you know, well or not.
Well, I mean, if you guys want to send me some of your comments, we could put together a subgroup together, that's double together, but you know what I mean, to look at it, because I mean, we don't need all 9 of us to develop the tool or get it together, and then we can send it out and, you know, tally it up. It doesn't have to be formal. And I apologize, Bill, for like talking about this in your presence, but you know, we're not talking about anything specific. We're just talking about process. So I don't know if anyone else has any comments or you want to get back to me. Even administrators that are listening in, you know, they probably have a whole lot more experience in doing evaluations. I mean, I know how to do an evaluation for people in my workplace, but you ain't gonna want that evaluation, Bill. So, you know, so you know, we can. I just wanted to get the ball rolling on this and kind of put it on your radar screen, folks, and ask you for any feedback and help with this that you're willing to give.
Sounds good.
That's really all I have.
Anybody else have any comments, questions? Okay, thanks, Nola.
Sure.
Okay, other business. Warrants, attachment 9A. The administration seeks a motion to approve the warrants, acknowledging that passage of this motion will act as authorization and signature of individual board members participating remotely. Could I have a motion for that? Sure.
So moved.
And Nilda. Thank you, Nilda. All right. Any discussion? All in favor? Nilda?
Yes.
Joanna?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Susan?
Yes.
Nina? Yes. Carries 5-0. Thank you. Warrants passed. All right. Other business superintendent report. Bill?
It's been really quiet since we last met, third week of June. Most of my colleagues, I see more than I expected up online here, because they should be on vacation. And so they're getting what's needed. And I know the staff is as well. So I don't have much more to report than that.
Okay. Thank you. Board announcements. Anybody have an announcement from the board or share anything? Nilda, do you have anything to share?
I just have one thing. I think that we should get on the books to consider not having a July meeting next year. I think it got a little awkward being so close to the holiday. The 4th of July tends to be that week, that period of time tends to be a big vacation week. That doesn't preclude if we have business that needs to be addressed, and I'm not trying to minimize what we're doing tonight, but I don't think tonight agenda was super time sensitive, and perhaps we could have not had it. And I like the idea of having just one meeting in August too. It gives us that sort of little break that everybody likes to have. But if Erin can get that sort of on the future planning, then we can remind ourselves. We're looking at
I think,
calendars.
yeah, we'll remind you. Okay, anybody else? Okay, agenda for future meetings. Board member half votes, Ryer brought it up, BFA school safety worker, Joanna DeRosso, and the proficiency grading, sorry, I knew that, DeRosse. And proficiency grading, actually that was me, not Joanna, so if we could fix that. And Joanna, go ahead.
I would like this to be restated, because I don't know that I'm not looking for just the BFA school safety worker to be evaluated. I'm looking for we should, as we changed things, we should be looking at how the system is working.
Okay.
And are people, are we receiving, favorable feedback or unfavorable? I want to make sure that the
More details or?
yeah, and that the memorandum of understanding is going well, and just the program in itself, as well as the BFA school safety worker, because it just kind of, when I see this, it kind of gives me a little negative feeling, and I don't have that.
Erin, did you
that's
get
not
that?
my agenda.
Can you just repeat what the agenda item is that you want?
Looking to review the school's safety plan, I don't know, looking to review the school liaison program, including the BFA safety worker, maybe?
Yeah, under the agenda for future meetings, Erin.
Just take out BFA school.
You're welcome. Thank you. Anything else, Joanna?
No, that's it
Okay.
for me, thanks.
All right, we do have one item for executive session, so I do need a motion to go in executive session.
I
Anybody?
move that we go into executive session for a legal item.
Thank you, Nilda. Is there a second? Second. Okay, thank you. We are, oh, sorry, I didn't do this. Nilda? Taking it wrong, Nilda.
Yes.
Okay, Joanna? Yes.
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Susan?
Yes.
Nina? Yes. Okay, 5-0. We are going to executive session for a legal action. Update.
Who do you need? Nina, who do you need?